start streaming. Let's see if that gets popped up into YouTube. Looks like it is. Check, check, mic check. Microphone check, looks good. YouTube video check, looks good. Check, check, 1, 2. Okay, it is Friday, September 29th, last day of the week, last trading day of the month. And this is a coding stream. We'll start off just with this last trade here that I was in. Was watching this Nike on earnings, just exited the trade, which is why we're starting off a little bit late here on the coding stream. Looks like Nike's going to give up even more. I wonder if this is where the seller will really start moving. But tried. This is the third attempt at the trade. I tried it once here on the short side, got stopped out on a wick. It's kind of hard to see on this. Maybe on a 1 minute it'll be easier. Did small size here, got stopped out. Did small size here, got stopped out, and then just kept watching it, kept watching it, kept watching it, and then put on some big size right here and carried that all the way down to new lows and caught that right before I started the stream. So very happy with that. Glad that I tested the waters here on very small size. Check, check, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2. Quotes. Do we have quotes? We have no quotes. I think I lost internet. There's no audio on the stream? What, are you on YouTube? Check, check. I see the audio coming through. Zap. So, I see audio working. Audio working on Discord. Can you guys hear me on Discord? Okay, so let's close this out. Let's minimize this. There's my picture. Let's go and open up Excalidraw. And just internet problems today, huh? What is this? Well, Excalidraw is not loading, which is going to be a problem. Which is weird. This morning we had a Discord outage due to Cloudflare, and now we're having other technical problems. Not sure what's going on here. Let's try reloading Excalidraw one more time. There we go. There we go. Okay. Coding stream. And we already had Ahmed had some questions prepared, which I really appreciate. Thank you. Let's post up those questions here and here. Okay. All right, let's get started. So, that might be a bit big. Does the volume affect the big cap market or price? Amazon. Oh, does the when you say volume, do you mean not volume but the float? Like the float, Ahmed? Or do you mean the daily volume? or do you mean this average volume? I guess can you clarify what this question means? Does the volume affect big cap market, uh, the market cap or the price? Um, I don't think that they have a direct correlation, no, because you can have a large market cap company who doesn't trade a lot of volume necessarily. Like for example, um, I don't know, John Deere or typically Nike or McDonald's don't do a ton of volume. They are large cap companies, but that doesn't necessarily mean every day they're trading uh, a lot of shares. Daily volume would be more of an indicator of interest in that name. So, Tesla has a high daily volume. It's usually at the top of my watch list, which is sorted by relative volume. So, it's a large cap company and it has high volume. Whereas other large cap companies like maybe 3M or IBM or Northrop Grumman or I don't know, Lockheed Martin, these are large, very, very large corporations that don't necessarily trade a lot of volume every single day. They might maybe do 1 million to 3 million shares a day, sometimes even less. So no, I don't think that there's a direct correlation there. Personally, for me, I try to stick to ones with more volume, and the reason why is pretty straightforward. More volume means more interest, means more participation, and more liquidity. So when I'm wrong, I can be wrong for less slippage, and when there's more participants, that that likelihood that there will be more opportunity is higher. So, and then for me, I can't trade short. I only have to can only trade long. Any advice? So, yeah, if you don't have a margin account, you won't be able to trade short, and you probably won't be able to day trade either. So you'll have to only swing. So it's a completely different set of skills than intraday, trading to the long and short side. It's a completely different set of skills if you are handcuffed only to be able to go long. You need to really develop your edge around that restriction, around that set of handcuffs. So, you would want to put yourself in a position where you have the table very much leaned in your direction before you can put that long on. You wouldn't want to just take any sort of mediocre. I mean, you always want to wait for the table to be tipped in your direction, but especially so when you can't trade to the short side, you will want to. And I'm not sure, maybe big caps, large caps aren't the right product for you given this restriction. Maybe you're better off looking at mid caps or low floats and trying to catch those kinds of moves to the long side, those bursts, in order to build up your account, in order to get to the point where you could have a margin account and get the ability to short. So, um, Ahmed, I would answer this by saying, not myself nor anyone else can tell you how you should trade because we're not you. I don't know your risk appetite. I don't know your situation. I don't know um, your philosophy, your thesis, or what your edge is. So there's Fat Cat and I both have videos on edge and how to develop edge and how to identify it. Those are helpful videos, I think, for uh, figuring out how to approach the market. But I would definitely take that restriction that you can't trade short into account and build your edge around that and maybe even use it as a strength in the sense that you don't need to look at large cap shorts at all. You don't need to waste your time focusing on them because all your focus can be on finding excellent long setups that really can give you that account build up and building that equity in that account rather than being distracted by things that you can't really trade. Not sure if that helps. Zap has a question. Let's go ahead and take a screenshot of that. And okay, so Zap's question is, How can you programmatically enable the option to display the last value of a subgraph in the y-axis scale, like the price scale of the graph? So for example, when you go to the studies subgraph, select the subgraph and check value label checkbox. Let's take a look. I'm not sure if this is exposed in the ACSIL API, but we can look at the documentation. Um, that is a good question. I know what you're talking about. Let's find like here's this. You're talking about this guy right here, like the last price line. Where's my current price line? And then this subgraph, current price line. This is what you're talking about. This value label, Zap. Oh, he's not even here. Oh, he might be on YouTube because the audio is show. Okay. I'm assuming you're on YouTube, so I'm assuming this is that toggle that you're looking to get on. So that was a timely exit out of Nike. Look at that pop. Wow. Okay, he said exactly. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at the documentation because I don't know this off of the top of my head. Let's go over to functions. Let's bring this over here. I'll maximize this here. And then, so we want to enable, so it's subgraph related. Maybe, I'm not sure if it'd be in here or in here. We'll have to kind of dig around. I'm going to search for, and actually, let's go back to here. Nope, not the trade activity log. This. I just want to see what other names of things are around here. Like horizontal align. It might, the ACSIL variable that might need to be set might be near where these are. So I see reverse colors and horizontal align. This is just a tip for how to find stuff in documentation, is look for stuff like this. So let's look for value label. Ooh, okay. SC.subgraph use labels color. Read write. So this seems very close to what we can be set to 1 or 0 and can. Okay, so labels color. So that looks like it sets the label color for that. But whether it enables the label, I don't think that. Used for subgraph name and labels. But this link I don't think is for ACSIL. That's just for the CR chart in general. Let's see here. Display name value controls whether to display the subgraph name and value in the region data line. Nope, that's not what we want. That will display it at the top. We don't want that one. Let's search for where value label, value label. What about reverse colors? Aha, reverse colors is right here. What is this? Line label. Line label. A set of flags to enable the displaying of the name and or value of the subgraph. This is what you want. Zap right here. Let me grab this link and copy it. This will do it for you. So sc.subgraph, let me make this a little bit smaller like this. Okay. Let's say you have a subgraph, SC subgraph reference, and you called it I don't know, simple moving average just for the sake of whatever. And then it's sc.subgraph. Let's say you set it to 0, right? So you declare that at the top of your study, okay? And then it looks like in your set defaults code block, if you know what I'm talking about, it's like if sc.set defaults, da 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 da. Inside that code block, what you're going to want to do is actually set the line label, and it looks like it's a set of flags. So the way that works is you're going to use, oh gosh, what's the name of this logic? It's not Boolean logic, it's bitwise logic. It's called bitwise logic. And so what you will use is you will set that, so you'll say sc.subgraph, or if you gave it a name like SSMA, you can use SSMA.line label, and then you could set it equal to, and then any combination of these. So let's find the one where you enable and display. Display name, and then display value. So LL display value you want to have enabled. So you're going to set this to LL display value like that. Okay. Now, if you also wanted to align it to the right or to the left or to the above or below, the way you would add that is on this line right here, you would add a pipe. This is the pipe. It's above your return key, below your backspace key. You have to hit shift in order to get at it. It's your pipe. And so you'll say, let's say you also wanted to, let's say you wanted to just align to the right, LL value align right. Then what you do is LL value align right, and then you'd put the semicolon to terminate the line. So you can put as many of these as you want. And of course, if you put a line above and a line below, I'm not sure what the functionality will be, so don't put all of them. But if you want to display the value, then you have that here, and you want to align it to the right, then you can do that. And that's how you do it. And that's it. That's literally it. That's all you have to do. So Zap's typing in a follow-up question here, I think, so we'll give him a second. Them a second. Please keep throwing questions in, guys, so that we don't run out, or if we run out, I'll just kill the stream. We'll be done. Um, yes. Okay, great. Yep. So that's a good tip for you guys when you're looking for how to make something, access something that you see, and not everything is always exposed through the ACSIL API, which is kind of confusing and can be frustrating when you're looking for something. You're like, where the heck is it in the documentation or in the ACSIL API? I see it right here, so therefore it must be. It's not 100% of everything is available, but yeah, you can use. I think I used reverse colors in order to find this line, which showed me this, which then I could see this. So it's kind of an art, and you have to just kind of get used to the documentation. But if you're serious about learning ACSIL and writing code in Sierra, you'll start to get used to the documentation and really come to appreciate how thorough and well documented it is. So, all right, great. So we got that one done. What's next? Morphus has a question. Let me screenshot it. Okay, and then where's our... Okay, so moving on to this question. Let me make this larger so it's easier to see. How do you display the total trades taking on the day on the chart? Do you mean the total number of trades executed in a bar for a specific symbol? Or do you mean like how many trades you executed in Sierra chart on that symbol? Like what do you mean by display total trades was taking? What does that mean? And Zap has another question while Morphus responds to that. Let's throw this in. I'm glad Discord application is working again, because this morning we had where was it? This is what I had this morning in Discord and couldn't access. So Morphus says, for example, from NQ from the day open to the day close. So you're just looking for the number of trades? Yeah, Sierra does have that. It is stored right. Let's go to the top. It's stored in base data. Num trades will give you the number of trades for a specific bar. So one thing you could do is just sum up all the bars starting at the first bar to the last bar. And I wonder if there's um, a daily version of that. Bid price, ask price, most recent. No, it doesn't look like number of trades, upvol, downvol, number of trades. Nope, it doesn't look like there's a daily number of trades. So You will need to, let me just search for daily number. Yeah, it doesn't have that. Ooh, daily high, daily volume. Maybe there is one. Daily, no. Daily num, daily trade. Nope, I don't see it. I think you're gonna have to use what I was showing earlier with that base data, and then use this SC_num trades, or you can just use sc.number of trades for the bars, and then just start from the session start where you want to start and go to the session end, and sum it all up. That's how I would do it, Morphus. Let's see, we've got another question. Zap's got a follow-up. What's the best way to display a horizontal grid line for the Y scale in the background of a custom study? That's an interesting question. I don't think I've ever tried to do that. I think this part's hanging me up right here. Background of a custom study is hanging me up, and I'll tell you why. Um, the study itself is really an overlay on top of a chart. So it'd be more correct to say something like background of a chart rather than of a custom study, like this. Um, so there's probably, I don't know if there's ACSIL exposes this programmatically, but in chart drawing settings, you should have the option for horizontal grid lines. You can Google around, and actually in Fat Cat's Discord, if you go to the platforms and software or hardware software platforms and brokers channels, somebody will probably be able to help you a lot quicker than I can for finding that specific setting. In terms of programmatically, you might want to look into the documentation for like horizontal grid, or search Google for ACSIL, like ACSIL horizontal grid, something like that, and you might find some results on how to enable and disable that. But you can't do it for a custom study because that's just an overlay. You can apply it to the chart, not to the custom study. The custom study is just rendered on top of that chart, and yeah. Yeah, the grid lines are definitely supported by chart, but the custom studies just don't interact with the chart in that way. Correct. They just don't. Okay, cool. All right, next question. Ooh, Nike. Look at that. Let's switch to a 15-minute footprint. So it came back up. It looks like it re-kissed my entry spot. That was my entry right there. But I did it back here and caught this one. It came back, retested that entry, and now is breaking down even further. And I had a secondary target of mid 94s down here. I wonder if it will get down here. It'll be interesting to see here today. I probably won't double dip into this, but when I saw this thing sell off, especially with this huge offer that executed pre-market or right at the beginning of the open, and then this thing just stayed heavy and never claimed pre-market highs. Just never could claim pre-market highs. I was very short biased on this. All right, any more questions, or is that all we got today? How do you calculate the time duration of a bar? That's a good question. Let me grab that question Ahmed just asked. Or I can just say, how do you calculate time duration of a bar? Well, there's a couple different ways. Number one, I'm assuming you do not have time-based bar intervals enabled, because if you have 5-minute bars, then you know what you know what the answer is for what the time of the bar is. But what you can do, let's go back to our documentation, and then let's scroll to the top. There is a set of arrays. Okay, you see this guy right here, base date time in, base date time in. So this is the start time of your bar, base date time in. So let me make Excalibur a little bit smaller so that I can write this. So if you create an SCDateTime object and you call it bar start, and you set it to sc.baseDateTimeIn of bar, I don't know, let's say you have bar, let's say you're using the whatever Sierra charts bar iterator is on. So sc.index, let me convert this to code so it's a little bit easier to see. So this is your bar start. So if we have a bar, and I'll make this the next bar and this the next bar, let's just pretend we have some bars here, and this is a timeline going from left to right. This spot right here, and then this spot right here. This bar start is going to be this spot right here, which coincide. I'm just looking at this bar, so um, I'm just looking at this first bar here that says hi. Bar start of sc.index. Of course, you'll have to pass, assuming that this is the index that it's on. You'll need to pass the correct index. If this is not sc.index, then you will get whatever the bar start time is of whatever this bar is. But I think you know by now, Ahmed, we've worked together enough that you know how to find the index of what you are looking for. But this is the start time, the start date time, I should say, in an SCDateTime struct of that bar. To get the end time, you need to use a different array. And I think it is right here, base data end date time. I'm just going to copy this because I always end up mistyping it and looking it up anyways. And so we'll make another one called SCDateTime bar end. And I'll just put it on a second line here, sc.index. Actually, you know what we'll do? We'll do it like this. And then we'll just move this and this slightly higher. Okay, so bar start was there, bar end is there. Now you have the start and end of that bar in the form of an SCDateTime variable, which is a custom structure. Now your question was the time duration. So I'm guessing that having two variables isn't the end of the question for you, because you actually want to know maybe the number of seconds, maybe the number of minutes, maybe some other time interval between these two. So I'm going to go over to my SCDateTime documentation, scdatetime.html here. And in here, we will find as seconds, get time in seconds. Let's say you wanted to have it as seconds. What you could do is you could call get time in seconds. This returns an integer, which is a representation of the time value of the SCDateTime variable. So, oops, let's go back to that and then bring this. There it is. Okay. So if I wanted to know integer duration, what I could say is give me bar end dot get time in seconds minus bar start dot get time in seconds, and that's going to give me duration in seconds of that bar, right? So putting it all together, start time using this base data time in array, bar end using base data end time array, and then just take the difference of those in seconds. And you can take a look, if you need milliseconds, there's a function for that. If you need some other type of Time interval, there's other functions for that. I should give you one warning though. The function or the function the this set of arrays, this array here and the set of values that correspond to it require you, read this line very carefully. For this array to be maintained, the base data end date time, not the start. The start's always available. But in order for end date time to work, for this to be maintained and filled in, it is necessary to set sc.maintain additional chart data arrays to 1 in your sc defaults code block. If you skip this, this will be empty because this will be empty. Okay, so you cannot miss that step. You need to set maintain additional chart data arrays in your code defaults block in order for this set of data to be populated so that you can actually take the difference, the duration of a bar if you're not using time-based bars. Does that make sense, Ahmed? Okay, cool. You're welcome. All right, let's do one more question and then we'll call it. I'll head off to work. It can be coding or non-coding, life, existential, whatever you want, guys. One more question and we'll head out. Oh, I'm out of coffee. That's a very sad thing. Any more questions? Got some folks typing. Yeah, so while we're still typing out, I use this frequently with clients who are using either volume-based or delta-based or some kind of non-time-based bar interval, but we still need to know what the duration was of some bar that is happening. Or so I use this frequently with my clients. This method of fetching, especially for non-time-based bars. And ironically, I only use time-based bars in my trading, or discretionary trading, I should say. Small caps. Have you ever traded small caps before? Yes, I have traded small caps before. Um, I'm not. I don't think I'm very good at trading small caps. I think that there's a couple issues with small caps, and you guys have probably noticed if you watch any of my trading or have read any of the stuff I write about my discretionary trading, I typically stick to large caps and mega caps, and the main reason why large caps? The main reason is because it's scalable for my strategy. I may not be there yet. I may not be there in a year, but I hopefully in 10, 20, whatever. Maybe it'll take me 50 years. I'm a slow learner, but my strategy is scalable on large caps because the liquidity is available. I was in 500 shares of Nike short today, which is nothing for Nike. I could be in 5,000 shares just as easily. I could be in 50,000 shares just as easily in Nike. So my strategy is completely scalable in large caps. This is not the case for small caps. Small caps, I will run into liquidity issues uh, if you try to get too large, you can get trapped and really get punished. Um, so the main reason is scalability. Also, the second reason is the nature of the shenanigans. How do you spell shenanigans? The nature of the shenanigans. So large caps and small caps both have shenanigans, but the nature of the shenanigans in the large caps is sensical and rational to my brain, where in small caps it's really a wild west. You can get away with a lot of crap moving around prices in small caps. and low float stocks. So, and this doesn't apply to futures. I've never discretionarily traded futures before, so I can't speak to that. But maybe the guys who trade like crude or some of the thinner markets, maybe like wheat or gold or something, can attest. Yeah, especially gold, CL or GC, and crude, which jump around quite a bit. But these large caps that are in play that I really focus on, the way that they trade, the shenanigans are usually coming from institutions, and there's bounds on what the type of shenanigans that they like to play. Like, trying to think of an example. I think we've all seen it where we have a large cap that looks like it's gonna like break out and then it fails and then it breaks out later, that kind of thing. Like just the nature of those games that they play, that the institutions play in the large caps, is just something that I read better. In the small caps, the dropouts and the shenanigans can be absolutely brutal. What did we have earlier this week? It was like that SLNO and IVNP. Somebody was talking about it. Cha's not in here, is he? No. So there were those, I don't remember if they were biocaps, pharma, what they were, but they were just ripping earlier this week. And the dropouts on them were just multiple points. It was like a $20, $30 stock that where the dropouts and the shenanigans played was 10% of the price of the underlying. That is a level of risk that I find difficult to swallow. Some people like that. I don't. I'm looking for a very repeatable, scalable product that I can go day in and day out, safely get out when I'm wrong, within reason. Obviously, you can always get hurt, but in large caps, I am unlikely, not promised, but unlikely to take a completely blindside hit, unless some kind of news event hits. And even then, it's probably going to have more liquidity than some small cap. So, yes, I've traded them before. Yes, I do look at them from time to time, Ahmed, but I typically try to stay away from them because the risk is just not, it doesn't match my risk appetite. So, I think I rambled on there for 10 minutes explaining why I don't like small caps, but Um, okay, Mike, I'll take your question as well, and then I'll go get more coffee. So, Mike, Ahmed, did I answer your question? Did that address what you were wondering? Okay. Mike asks, just started coding. Welcome. Watching you. Okay, yep, that's good. Have you tried option strategies? So Sierra doesn't support options chains. So no, I have not. And I rarely ever trade options myself. The only time I trade options are in my very long-term retirement accounts. Um, that's the only place I trade options, and it's maybe once a year, maybe once every 5 years. I just, I'm not a huge options trader. And Sierra doesn't have any option support, so no. All right, I'll take one more. One more question. And did you guys see, and if you haven't, this release note, by the way, if you want to get to this page, it's what is new. Where is that? It's right here under main, what is new, right here. It gets you this page. You can see the stuff that the major changes that go out in the big releases. They do smaller releases as well. They're called pre-releases. You can download them, um, and they won't post these. Like you can see 5.1 skipped from 4.7, 4.8, 4.9. 5.0, typically numbers go up linearly like that, sequentially. But this update here, for those of us who are interested in leveraging more powerful graphics cards and offloading all of that processing from our CPU, which we want to run studies in Sierra and our operating system and other applications and offloading the drawing to a graphics card, um, I would read through this update very carefully and start looking into what they're saying here. The definitions are in crchart.h, and it looks like there's some new structures that we have to play with. Maybe in next week or something, we'll open this up and play with it. I haven't actually looked yet, um, but we can start drawing with GDI, or not with GDI, with OpenGL rather than GDI. GDI will leverage the CPU for drawing purposes, whereas OpenGL will leverage your graphics card if it's supported, which most are. Um, so big gains to be had performance-wise, especially for those of you who are running large volume profiles on very long data uh, and chart timeframes. This could really help you with performance. So maybe we'll take a look at this next week. No other questions, so I think we'll wrap it up here for today. As always, thank you for joining and have a good weekend, and catch you guys next time.